Would you mess with a timeline if given the opportunity?
Depends. If it was someone else's, yes. If it was this one's, no. No, I would 100% make it worse. Captain's Pod, Stardate 133294.1. Welcome aboard the Starship Enterprise, and thank you for joining us as we take a brief short leave from the world of Cinemasins to explore the universe of Star Trek. I'm your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always, she has a chronoton flux of 0.003. It's Ambassador Danae. How did you get it? If you had to guess at how you acquired a chronoton flux, how would it have happened?
Oh, I exist in all times at the same time.
Man, that would be terrifying. Would you actually want that given the opportunity?
Well, there's a difference between existing and then being conscious of it.
Like if your brain could handle it.
Well, if my brain could handle it, that means that it wouldn't be any weird thing for me.
There isn't. We really need to do your idea of describe a Star Trek episode, because this happens in an episode of Star Trek.
I'm beginning to think that no matter what we talk about, let's test this theory. Let's test this theory.
Yeah.
A dog beams aboard a spaceship. Is that too specific?
What my brain just did, you said dog, so my brain is so keyed into Star Trek, it's like Google. It filtered down all of the series that have dogs in it, so I threw away some that I knew didn't have dogs. And yes, that happens in an episode. A dog, specifically a beagle, beams aboard a starship.
I love beagles. They're
beagle.
so cute.
This one is adorable. His name is Porthos.
So, like, for you're thinking, oh, Danae, it would be really hard and to exist in all these different time frames, but you have enough brain power to immediately begin filtering 900 episodes of Star Trek.
Man, I don't know if it is brain power. I'm abusing it. I am wasting it.
What else would it be besides brain power?
No, power is like such a loaded term. I don't know if this is a power. And if it is a power, I'm misusing it. I should be using this power on something other than Star Trek.
No. You have strong neurological pathways. You access this part of where all of this library exists in your mind so much. It's just instant for you.
It's just right there. Oh, it also happens in a movie, but it's implied that the dog dies.
Oh.
That's
really sad. Let's not talk about that. Let's do that. Let's talk about a real dog. A happy dog.
Let's talk about an email.
Oh, yeah. Is there a dog in the email?
There isn't, but there is a dog in the outtakes that we haven't recorded yet. Emails. Okay, hailing frequencies open, everyone. It's time for us to read your emails from Twitter, Discord, Twitter, and what the fuck did I just do that? From Discord, Twitter, Discord, Twitter, Discord, X, emails, Twitter, World Discord, and email.
It's legit. Like you just had a chronoton flux.
I did. I just short-circuited. That was amazing. This one comes from, forgive us for the indulgence, but this is a very lovely email that made me very, very happy to receive. This is from Ellery. I'm very excited to be emailing the two of you. I've been listening to your podcast since the very end of Picard, and it's helped me get into Star Trek.
Wow. Hold on a second. Picard helped you get into Star Trek?
Yeah, that was my immediate question.
That's so interesting. Because it's kind of my launching point to get back into Star Trek, but it's for the purposes of this show. But maybe they're saying that our podcast helped them get back into Star Trek.
I think so, which is fucking incredible. I would not encourage anybody to have Picard as their first Star Trek. I don't hate it, but I don't think it's the best entry point, to be completely honest.
You need so much information to validate what's happening in that show, yeah. So
much. Ellery continues. And this is what really warmed my heart. My dad has been trying to subtly turn me into a Trekkie since infancy. So roughly 15 years. And thanks to you guys, he's succeeded. I love that. That's amazing. The problem your dad had, forgive me, is that he tried to be subtle about it. We have thrown subtly out of the window, out of the airlock, and have just tried to convert people.
I just wonder how that conversation goes. Dad, I'm listening to this podcast. It's highly questionable, and it helped me to connect with Star Trek. Yeah. And how was the father? Oh, thank goodness for these two wackadoo people. Or like, oh honey, put the Cinemasins down.
I'm going to immediately listen to this show. Oh, you need to not listen to this. No,
these are not the people that you should be listening to. Actually, we are. We totally are.
Yes, we are. We absolutely are. Ellery continues. There was no pronunciation. So again, I apologize if Ellery is mispronounced. It's Ellery. I'm going to stick with Ellery until proven otherwise. We watched TNG together when I was little, a bit of TOS and lots of Lower Decks, but I never really fell in love with it. Then when Picard came out, I watched all of your episodes and then went back to watch Voyager, Strange New Worlds, and more of TOS. I'm currently working through Deep Space Nine.
Oh, you got the bug. Ellery, you got the bug.
You got the Rick Berman era bug as well. All of the TNG, Voyager, Deep Space Nine goodness. Strange New Worlds. You're getting so much Star Trek all at once. I'm actually kind of envious. That's really fun.
Yeah. Envious because there's the time to watch it.
Well, yeah, and also just getting to watch it for the first time again.
Oh, yeah.
That's fun. You'll like this, Ambassador. Ellery is saying that they're going through what they can stand of Deep Space Nine.
Oh.
Cisco is getting on their nerves.
Wait, why do I like that? Because I had a different
you hate popular
opinion.
characters too.
Well, first of all, Ellery did not say that they hated them.
No.
They just said that Cisco's getting on the nerves, and honestly, he gets on my nerves too. What little I've watched, he has a very interesting cadence and an ego that I haven't connected to just yet. My favorite episode that I've seen of them is on the Creature episode where they went back and they were part of the whole
Roswell thing? Wait, no. Tribbles.
No.
The original series.
No. Deep Space Nine. When Cisco and What's-Her-Butt went back in time.
Oh, yeah, they went back to the original series to deal with the Tribbles.
Series. The Tribbles. Yes.
Yes.
I really liked them in that one because they were sort of like fanboys and fangirls.
Yeah.
Just having this weird dream-like sequence. Again, just super okay with timey-wiminess.
Yeah, super chill.
Why are we messing with timelines? Would you mess with a timeline if given the opportunity?
Depends. If it was someone else's, yes. If it was this one, no. No, I would 100% make it worse. All of my good intentions would go sideways. I will say, early season Cisco is tricky because they weren't quite letting they weren't quite letting Avery Brooks do his thing. And it's like later on, basically when Cisco becomes bald and gets the goatee, that's the delineation point. That's when Cisco is like full force, super established, really, really, really fun. So stick with it until the baldness. Ellery, that's my advice.
This is pretty much just life advice for meeting anyone that you have to spend time with. Just stick with them long enough. They'll wear on you long enough.
Yes. Yeah, you'll attribute it to something else, but it's actually just that you've grown a callus to their presence.
Yeah, you'll like me eventually. I'll cut my hair, I'll dye it a different color, and that's the delineation point to like me after.
You'll think it's that. I also have a few episodes, Ellery continues, I would love to see you watch and review. Rejoined from Deep Space Nine is one of the best in the entire franchise. Completely agree. And I also adore Voyager's Ashes to Ashes. Shades of Grey from TNG is also one I'm guilty of enjoying. What can I say? I love Riker. It is a very Riker-heavy episode, and we've kind of berated Shades of Grey repeatedly.
Like Riker-heavy breathing, or just Riker-heavy?
Riker. That's a given. You can't have a Riker-heavy episode without Riker-heavy breathing. This is the compilation episode where it goes through all of the clips of Riker suffering, enjoying, being happy, all of the shades of Riker you can imagine are in this episode because there was a writer's strike and they ran out of ideas. So they basically said, we need to do a clip show.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Well, I think we will end up watching it one day. And I'm curious as to what Danae would think of it, Shades of Grey. I am as well. I just don't know what theme that would fit in. This is technically time travel.
Well, the theme would be recommended by you.
Yeah, or notorious episodes of Star Trek, actually, because it is a notorious episode. So it would fit into that theme. We'll do Tuvix, Threshold, and Shades of Grey.
We have so many different categories we're currently creating. Sorry, podcast listener. We will get back to what the point of today's episode is.
Yeah, we will.
I think.
Scorpions Part 1 and 2 would be great to hear you cover as well, especially with how you've discussed and enjoyed Seven's character. I'll wrap it up here, even though I could go on. Live long and prosper. Ellery. Thank you, Ellery, for your email. That was amazing. And if we can convert one person to loving Star Trek, then our brain manipulation
I guess the show is over.
Yeah, show's done. Let's just wrap it up now, actually. Live long and prosper, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Bye. Okay. And don't forget, you can email us and send us your audio messages, your recommendations, anything you want to send us to, including anything non-Star Trek that you'd talk about. CaptainSpod@cinemasins.com, via Twitter at CaptainSpodCS, or on the Discord, discord.gg/cinemasins. Okay, Ambassador, we're going back to TOS for some time travel shenanigans. The episode is Tomorrow is Yesterday. Any predictions in that extremely specific title that gives you lots of clues?
Oh my God. Well, obviously they're going to go into the future and it's going to impact the past.
So they go into the future and it impacts the past. That's not how that usually works.
Time travel. How does it work? That is the telltale.
Wait, they're traveling to the future and it affects things that happened before the future happened.
Yeah, that's how time travel works.
Nope. It's the opposite.
Yeah, it does.
No, it's not.
No.
It's the opposite of how time travel works.
No. But tomorrow is today indicates that the future impacts today. It's right there in the title.
You have learned nothing from the first 3 lectures in this series on time travel.
If it's a Picard lecture, I was not paying attention.
Yeah.
Because Riker is right beside me.
It's fair.
And I am a horn dog.
Yeah. And he has his leg up on a table.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop.
So they go into the future and it impacts the past. That's the big prediction. Anything oddly specific? What does Kirk do this episode that's wacky?
Oh, okay. He's definitely going to be holding some kind of a gun-looking thing. I see like a little dish on it with like a little pokey part in my imagination.
I love that. That's amazing. Uh-huh.
Like a little deflector, like a little a
little deflector
TV
dish. A little satellite aerial dish.
A little satellite dish type thing on there. Yeah, and it's got like a little pokey thing. So I think he's going to hold that. Oh, someone's falling over. Definitely some beaming.
There's a lot of beaming in the original series. I've noticed this.
Yeah, a lot of beaming.
Amazing. I love those predictions. It's been so long since I've seen this episode. I can only confirm or deny one of them. But without further ado, let's go to the holodeck to watch the episode. We'll see you all in 10 Forward for a full debrief. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab something from the not the replicator. What is it? The food synthesizer, and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched together. Most important question first: what would you like the transporter chief to get you from the food terminal?
I've got so many questions about how this works, but definitely some chicken soup. I mean, let's just try it. Yeah. Finger flavored chicken soup.
Finger flavored chicken soup.
He just dipped his finger right on in there.
No, he's been touching all kinds of things. I would like one of the other mystery cards that, I mean, one of them happened to be chicken soup, apparently. So I'll take one of the other foods he was already prepared to hand out.
Is that how that works? Synopsis. Can we start there? Okay. Oh, the synopsis. Yeah. Okay. In today's episode, we get to see the OG sling around the sun. Beach.
Yeah, we did. First time inventing time travel.
I did feel a bit like I was watching a celebrity moment happen because I've heard about this sling around the sun. I think I saw it happen, but I can't remember which series did it. Was it Picard? I can't remember. Somebody did it. Was it the Borg? There was conversation about it somewhere.
Yeah, it's in the Voyage Home, which is the one with the whales, and you may have seen a clip of the time warp in that one.
Or maybe it was mentioned in something.
No, yes, they mention it in I think it's in Picard.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was really early on in the show because there was some stuff going on and there was definitely some slinger on the sun and I was very confused about that. And you said, oh, that's from TOS. And now here we are watching it.
Yeah, this is the one.
We're coming around full circle. We got to see some timey-wimey shenanigans. In today's episode, the Enterprise kidnaps people from Earth and beams them back into themselves and everything turns out okay.
That's it. It was a great synopsis. That poor man is so traumatized. The security guard.
Yeah, this episode had some pretty interesting humor beats.
Yeah, so that's probably the thing that I'm going to remember most from this episode. It's a long, long time since I've seen it, but it's the first time travel episode that Star Trek does, and it's kind of goofy. Like, it's really, really funny. There are tons of humor beats in this. And I wonder if it was because Gene was so reluctant to do time travel that if he did it really seriously, it was going to be too much. Or maybe at this point they knew City on the Edge of Forever was coming, so they knew that was going to be super serious, so they deliberately made this a bit more lighthearted.
I don't know. But we have multiple episodes of them coming back to this time. And I think that must have been a fun connection point for the audience to just fall in love with Star Trek when this was originally on the TV, because it's a very clever thing to do, to take your sci-fi show and then solidify it in the life of the people who are watching it. So I don't think I mind that we're going back to the 20th century, but I wasn't exactly like super excited about it. I thought, oh, can we do something different besides go to a base? Because we just did that. We just did that. There was but that was Discovery. No, that was Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine, yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, maybe that's why it's feeling like a little bit like ugh to me, because we're going back to basically the same time where the weather balloons. So Deep Space Nine was riffing on this one. Absolutely. They even said, this is the time of weather balloons. And that was the whole thing for the Deep Space Nine episode.
Yeah, that's true. But that's like a stereotype in general. Like the X-Files would do the weather balloons. Like the whole story from like the 60s onwards has been weather balloons did it, and that's what it is. But I completely agree with you. Like it feels like a bit of a cop-out to do time travel and then be stuck in a military base, because then you don't actually have to explore anything. You don't have to go onto the streets of the 60s, and it's definitely a budget thing because it's much easier to just set it on a military base. So this doesn't feel super time travel-y because we're not seeing a lot. They're dealing with a dilemma, which is fun, but we're not seeing a lot of the actual crew in the 60s.
No, all 430 of them.
I know. We got some interesting specifics.
Some interesting facts on this one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about my predictions.
Yeah, so you predicted that, first and foremost, they will go into the future and it will impact the past. That's not right. How time travel works.
Tomorrow is yesterday.
Did that happen, Danae?
Yeah, they definitely went into the future.
And it went into the past.
No, but then they also went into the future.
Nope.
Yes, they did. They had to go back to their time.
They went to the present. You got to go back to the present.
No, I can see what you're saying now.
Kirk will be holding a gun with a dish.
That happened.
It doesn't technically have a dish on it. It has a spike. It's like a little point.
It's like it has like a little like half cylinder thingy that looks very dish-like with a point on it.
Very cylindrical. Okay, we'll give you that. We'll give you half a point for that.
There was a lot of guns in this episode.
Oh, lots of guns being pointed at everybody. Someone falls over.
That's definitely happened a lot.
Everybody fell over during the time warp. Lots of people falling down.
There were people falling over on the bridge. There were people falling over in the engine room. And there were people falling over in the archives.
Everywhere.
In one of the most epic battles we've ever seen.
I mean, let's just go straight to that, because the more we watch the original series, the more I'm getting that you love the fighting. And this has got an incredible fight scene in the archive room where Kirk gives everything to that fight. He sacrifices his entire body.
Oh my God.
He goes full horizontal at those people.
I laughed so hard at that part. I really enjoy it because this is a way to amp up that episode and have some action. And it's wild to see how much physical engagement these actors are getting into, because that's actually Shatner, right? There was a stunt double.
Nope.
That man's fucking crazy, and I loved it.
It's incredible.
He just throws himself around, and then he goes and does a pull up in the doorway.
Yes.
And then frog leaps over the next guy playing leapfrog, and I was here for all of it. Why? I never, ever see this stuff in any other media I consume.
No.
At no point in my life have I ever seen this kind of fight acting, except for right here. And maybe it exists in a whole bunch of other areas I just haven't watched or will never watch. But
man, I don't know.
This is mind-boggling that the highest level military that we have, this is their fighting style. And the future, their combat training is essentially just extreme aerobics. It's fantastic.
It's incredible. It's so fun. He just, like I say, he just gives everything. And it's not like everyone in the cast does this. It really is Shatner. He just commits his entire body to everything. And I love how this is choreographed, because it starts off with all three of them coming at him, and he just ducks under, goes through their legs, throws some double fist punches, and out of nowhere, he's just horizontal. He's just like sideways at three people. It's so much fun.
It was amazing. I loved that part. It might be my favorite part.
This episode needed that. There is some... I felt the pacing on this one. I felt it drag a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely... This is the only real action we have, in a way. Oh, I mean, well, hold on a second. We've got jet planes at the beginning. We've got fighter jets. And we've got the Enterprise entering the Earth's atmosphere. And that is an action sequence, absolutely. But that was amazing. I want to just watch that scene again, because I just remember thinking multiple times through it that whoever is doing this is giving all they have, and it doesn't matter that it doesn't make any sense. Like, to get hit by a forearm on the back of your back and then that makes you pass out makes no sense.
Just a couple of bruisings. No, but it's the technique, Danae. It's all with... I remember a few months back or so, I was saying something about like a chop to the neck.
The brachial plexus.
The brachial plexus. Right? Isn't there one on the back as well?
No. They're just like strategically placed around our body.
All over the body. Yep. God designed us with like off switches everywhere.
I believed that like maybe Sulu and Spock were able to do some really interesting kind of like combat techniques, especially Spock.
Mm-hmm.
But this whole like hold one fist with your other fist and use it to whack at your...
But do you know what's great about it is that you're already ready to celebrate as soon as you've done it. Woo,
it was amazing.
That's incredible.
I really, really enjoyed that part. And I don't think that it was intended to be hilarious when it was released. I think it was intended to be like a really serious moment. Yeah. And this is how we're choosing to depict what a brawl would look like.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, to me, very clearly a Star Trek TOS brawl. And it's like its own category of overacting and, like I said, acrobatics. Just like these rolls. Like you can kind of see him just like gearing up and being like boing, and then just tucking and rolling, and then he pops up, and that in and of itself stunned everyone. They can't believe that he did it, and that gives him the edge just for a split second. He holds his own hand, he whacks them once or twice. They just go whoa, 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 and then they hit a wall, and then they're kind of conscious just enough to recognize the danger of Kirk, and then they pass out. Like, how fucking awesome is that? That is not how actual brawls go at all.
No. Although if somebody throws their full body at me, I'm going to be caught off guard. I'm going to be really, really surprised that they're not using arms or legs. They're using their torso to fight me. It's amazing.
Yeah, when he threw his entire body into the waiting arms of his enemy, there is nothing.
We'll catch you, Eagle!
I hope that I can access the joy of that moment and the Trouble with Tribbles fight for the rest of my life. I hope that if I'm having a bad day and I just need to think of something that just gives me the giggles, that I can remember. Just think about TOS fights. I'm
going to get our editors to edit together every TOS fight into just one, because there's one I'm thinking of that I might be in an episode that we do at some point where Kirk pulls off some like amazing like double mid-air kicking that you're going to love as well.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
We need to prioritize that.
One of the first episodes we watched, I don't remember, I think it was one of the monster episodes. It could have been the salt monster episode. They arrive and then they kind of go out onto the ground, sort of in this area that had been under fire. So maybe it wasn't the salt monster one. But anyways,
no, this is the Gorn.
The Gorn one, maybe that was it. And so it's Spock and him.
And Kirk's just diving everywhere.
Yeah, they're crawling around, and then they have to kind of like launch something in the distance and such. And I just remember like thinking, this is physical comedy in a sci-fi, a serious sci-fi environment.
It's not meant to be.
And how they take it so seriously is what makes it great.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Who would make this? Because when we see fights nowadays, they're like
smash cuts,
Jason Bourne
cut
situations, and they make it more like realistic.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, and sometimes they want to hide a lack of actual like combat training as well, or they want to hide stunt doubles as well. Whereas
in this one, we're not hiding that it's bad. We're fully going in
Shatner, throw yourself at those people.
I don't even think that. I think Shatner probably in that moment was like, I've got a plan.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. I'm going to throw myself at you. You guys catch me. Ready? Go. And he does it. It's like, okay, now I'm going to go over there. And I'm going to jump up here. It just has this franticness to it.
The guards are all surprised. It's not choreographed at all. It's like, just catch him when he flies.
And there's these big hay swings and stuff. I mean, they had to do a little bit of like conversation, but it seemed like in the moment there's this frantic energy to it. Like, this is so much fun. And then it just keeps going and it doesn't stop. Kind of like how I keep talking about this fighting.
It's beautiful. It's amazing. I do want to move on to... I really like the cold open for this. It must have been so fun back in the 60s as well. So we were watching...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We were watching this is the updated version that was like remastered in the 90s or something. But the shots are still the same. They've just been updated. So it still opens on the military base. And then just with the Enterprise in a blue sky. Like, you always see the Enterprise in space. This would, I think, have been probably one of the first times you'd actually see it in the sky with clouds around it as a UFO. Like, what a fun cold open.
It felt a bit to me like cause and effect. Isn't that the one that was your favorite?
Yes,
where it's like
really
something
shocking.
happens that's just completely unexpected.
Yeah.
So if you were watching this, you would check your TV guide.
Yes.
I think was what they had at the time, like a printed document that told you what was coming out. You had to go pick up from the store.
What am I watching? A military drama?
Well, it says this is supposed to be Star Trek, but this is obviously the military drama. And then all of a sudden, there it is in the sky. I think that would have been epic. I really enjoyed it because I've never seen it in the sky before.
Exactly. No, I love that. And I love that they do like this little mini pursuit with the fighter jet chasing the Enterprise. The threat of firing nukes at the Enterprise. Like, it's kind of terrifying that there's something in the 60s that would do potential damage to something in the 2300s, 2200s. It's kind of like, we should stop messing with nukes and stuff. We should just, like, not.
Yeah, the opening sequence was really, really fun.
Yeah.
And then we kind of find out through just exposition that they got sucked into like a dark star, and it flung them out into the past.
I kind of imagined you just like your ears glazed over when they started to, when Spock explains like the Dark Star and they're suddenly in the past. Like, it's such an abrupt arrival. Like, there's no Captain's log, we're doing this thing, and then the drama happens. We're joining in after the fact, and then we're getting like an exposition dump of, oh yeah, by the way, we're in, some shit happened and we're in the past.
Can I tell you though, I think I, in a way, prefer the TOS exposition to some of the Voyager exposition that I just recently experienced, where they're really leaning heavily into explaining what's going on through the lens of time travel with all of the paradoxes and the Star Trek terminology. Like, they really are like, okay, well, we want to talk about this, so we've got to think about it at this point in time. Whereas TOS is just like, we got sucked into a star and now we don't know where we are. It's so like much more simplified.
The point of this episode is to be in the past and explore some past things. You don't need to worry about how we got here or how we're going to get back. Yeah,
this episode, I think, was leaning on the idea that in order to, it almost seemed like the first time they had this idea, by the way, that kidnapping is not a good idea, number one.
Yeah.
They should have just let the guy die, I guess. I don't know. There's so many things. I'm not going to ask a lot of questions about how this stuff works, but I think it was the idea that Kirk made a call to like invite this person on aboard and have a moment, and Spock says this is a bad idea because it could impact the timeline, and it seemed like that's the first time Kirk's ever thought about that before.
It's kind of crazy. Like, everyone in this episode is pretty stupid. Like, Spock gives the update that, oh, by the way, Captain, the tractor beam will likely destroy this poor person's ship. Scotty immediately comes on and says, tractor beam activated, ship is breaking up. Like, give that update a little bit sooner, and then when they're forced to bring the guy on board, Kirk's just like, welcome aboard, friend. Like, here's the transporters, here's my phaser, welcome to the bridge, the nerve center of the most advanced ship in the fleet. And then Spock is like, can I have a word? This might not be a good idea. Like, I'm not saying this guy is going to do anything shady, but what if an unscrupulous man? And I love that description that Spock gives of, like, the logic of what could possibly happen. But it is at the expense of Kirk's intelligence, because Kirk is like, oh, your logic is annoying as usual.
Not only at Kirk's intelligence, maybe he purposefully avoided listening that day at Starfleet, although I don't think we're calling it Starfleet,
No, it is Starfleet. It is Starfleet.
There's like different words at this point, like Federation of Planets or something. Maybe that's how it is always, but it seems like there's different words to describe Starfleet in my brain. But I don't know if it's that Kirk doesn't know or he's choosing to be obtuse about it. Either way,
it just feels weird, doesn't it?
This is the writers introducing the sci-fi audience to the concept of time travel
exactly
through this lens. And so Kirk is taking the role as I hadn't thought about that, even though they absolutely should have been thinking about this. But at that point, it was a really interesting thing where the episode seems to be struggling with, okay, we've done this thing. We've taken this person who is a nobody and we're going to kidnap him. And that's what we're going to do. Sorry, dude. Sorry about your family. Sorry about your kids.
Well,
we have greater things to worry about. And then it writes itself, like I'm noticing that most TOS episodes do, by then introducing, oh, sorry, just didn't check the annexes about your children. Turns out you are important, but not really you. Your kids are more important. So we need you to go back. And to me, one of the most interesting people of this episode is this Captain Christopher character who has been beamed out of his, fighter jet because he's taking matters into his own hands and trying to cleverly get off of this terrifying prison that the show is maybe wanting us to be like, ooh, this is fun for our Star Trek characters, but I'm really relating to the Captain Christopher. I'm like, dude, you're fucked. Like, how are you getting out of this?
This has nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm. What, you kidnapped me, you assholes. Like, you've ruined my life. What are you doing? And you're right. The crux of all of that nonsense is to tell the audience this is what we're exploring this week. The dilemma of the week this week is that what do you do if you have a man out of time? You have to return them, but there's a risk of them corrupting the timeline, but you can't not return them because that too is going to corrupt the timeline as well. But the way that like TNG and like the later shows do it better is that not everybody is made to look stupid when they do it, because even Spock doesn't come off very well because he's saying that Captain Christopher is no impact on the rest of humanity. Yeah. How did he not think about his kids? Like, Spock is a genius. How could he not go one step further to think it's not just the man, but it's the humans that he creates as well, and this butterfly effect that carries on? And yeah, the point is to get to this dilemma where we did have an easy option. Well, we just take him back to the future with us, and now there's a dilemma that the show has to deal with.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that the show is probably suffering from first season
itis.
First time doing anything like this big picture stuff where they're going to give that role of confused individual to anybody, and it doesn't necessarily have to make sense to the character in its entirety, because maybe they're not really thinking about the character in its entirety. Like, the role of the person making the mistakes in today's writer's room would be given to a character that's either a throwaway character that they can pitch at the end, or a character that exists to regularly make stupid mistakes, like choosing to beam somebody aboard.
Or in TNG's case, it was Worf. He was always given the dumb suggestions or just ignored.
Worf. Yeah, it would have been... Anyway, but to your point, you're right. It doesn't make sense to the characters now that we're in the future and we know all of the nuances of these characters. But in this episode, as a singular piece, if we're just kind of looking at it alone, it's introducing some really interesting concepts to the sci-fi world.
Yeah. No, and
which aren't unexplored in other mediums, but we're seeing it here in this particular one.
Yeah, at some point, I don't know how you do sci-fi and not dip your toe into time travel at some point. What I think blows my mind the most, though, is how they get back to the future. And it's not exactly like yada yada, because they spend like a good 10 minutes on like the calculations and the time warp and getting back, but it is some incredible nonsense that they are inventing time travel so easily, and how conveniently it works, like the beaming Christopher and the other guard back into their bodies. Like, what?
I have questions about that.
I don't
understand how that worked. Like, are they saying that they killed that Christopher? They didn't kill, because they said that Christopher wasn't going to remember anything because it hadn't happened yet.
Which, again, doesn't make
any sense.
Because they haven't prevented themselves from going back in time. They're just... The Enterprise is still in orbit.
Yeah.
It just hasn't happened yet.
But then we also see that the Enterprise disappears as well. Like, it's
because
there,
it was
but then
never
it's
there.
not there because it was never there.
I think the idea is that they're going back to the future to a point in time before they were sent to the past, and somehow avoiding the Dark Star from taking them to the past. They don't explicitly say that, though. Even with that put to one side, I don't know. They are asking the transporters to do something we did not realize transporters can do. Like, you're talking, like, the microsecond, like, but the exact microsecond that all of this started, like, why would that work? You're just beaming this duplicate on top of another version of himself. Like, it's so much bonkers. It almost makes me wonder, like, why they went this direction, because there's an easy way where you just gloss over it and just say, yeah, we dumped him in the desert, that's fine. Like, go back to the crash and leave him at the crash with a parachute. This is so bizarre. And then beaming the guard into his own body at that time as well. Like, I don't think whoever invented the transporters designed them to do this. And if they did, I'm wondering why.
My theory is that somehow them coming back to that point in time eliminated the Enterprise from being in orbit, and then they killed their version of Chris by beaming him into himself, and the original version is what continues on. That's my theory.
Yeah,
because there's no other way for them. Like, I think they intentionally murdered the future military guys that they kidnapped.
Well, they're definitely saying that he won't remember anything. So I think by definition, if you are the sum of your memories, that version of him is dead. Or you could argue he never existed. You can't kill something that never existed.
And to a point of the person in chat, and if that's how it works and it doesn't work that way, then what's the point of retrieving the record tapes and photos?
Oh, no! They didn't even need to get the tapes!
Not if it never happened.
They didn't need to do the entire away mission because the tapes were never made.
It really does feel like we got to figure out how to just make this make sense, and the audience probably isn't going to care too much, so let's just make a solution and move on. No one's going to be
rewatching this in 60 years.
So...
and pulling it apart. Yeah, it's really bonkers. It's kind of crazy. But they compound it by reusing this time travel in the future in another episode. I mean, I'm amazed in a movie. I'm amazed this didn't spawn off another series that was, oh, hey, we know how to do time travel. We should go and do time travel now. And there's a Starfleet Time Bureau or something.
Yeah. It was weird.
It's really, really, really weird.
I thought what was going to happen was that the second guy that beamed aboard, the frozen man, the guy that froze in a place.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that he was going to choose to go with them because he loved soup.
This is the best soup I've ever had.
Like, this is the future I want to be at. I'm going to go with you guys. And then Christopher was going to go back and just be the loony cuckoo guy that talked about his trips to his children, and that's what helped to influence his son to eventually do what his son did. That's kind of what where I thought that it was going to go.
I want to see like his son be really motivated to do space travel because he wants a chance of visiting the people that came from the future and abducted his dad. But no, his dad doesn't remember anything.
That was when they said you're not going to remember anything, I thought, all right, that's kind of an easy way to explain away the shenanigans in a way. But then couldn't you just use like your medical technology to do that? And again, I feel like it's suffering because this is the beginning of this show. So maybe they haven't established really explored all of the sci-fi stuff that I have explored in my life.
Just wipe his memory.
Maybe they didn't reach for that. I don't know. So the time stuff didn't work for me, but there were some fun parts of this, and this did have a lot of humor to it. There was not only, obviously the fight sequence, which I don't think was meant to be funny.
There is some deliberate humor, and that was my next point as well. I kind of give this episode a pass because it's really funny. Like, there are some beats, like when the guard is like, I'm going to put you in prison for 200 years. And Kirk's just like, yeah, that'll do it. Because they've come from the 2260s. And it's so great. He's like eyeballs the camera. It's like, yep. Yeah. That would work out great, actually, if you could do that.
The idea that a person would be so stunned by arriving that their brain would put them into a freeze state, and that you would just
it's my favorite part of the episode.
Stand there while Bones just comes up and just takes your weapon. Like, I got your weapon.
Whoever
now.
Cast this guy is a genius, because he is just perfect. He is in shock.
Funny.
The only thing I wish they'd done is kept him on the transporter pad the entire time. And when they have to beam Kirk and everyone back, Spock just like manhandles him and just like picks him up, puts him down over there, and then puts him back in place. And he's just terrified, frozen in shock. McCoy could be like, "Transporter chief, did you put like a restraining field on him?" And he's like, "Nope, guy's just frozen." But his facial expression is just priceless. It's so good.
I wasn't expecting that. I know there actually is a state where, like, if you're under extreme duress or fear, that you can just like literally freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Watching it happen was really, really interesting. He had a weapon. He could have, shot people. He could have done all kinds of things, but he just stood there. That was funny.
So good.
And then all of the sudden, or at least for me, all of a sudden, because we're watching these episodes just dropping in and dropping out of the universe, but this all of the sudden computer just being this sassy female.
I don't know why. I don't know what that has to do with the episode.
Well, somebody in the chat said that this episode was written by a woman, and that was the first episode to be
DC
written
Fontana.
by a woman. So I wonder if she decided to do something funny, and the computer voice is female from here out, maybe?
Yeah, and I don't know for certain, but I think it's Majel Barrett. Like, I think
it sounds similar.
It sounded very similar to her, and I wouldn't be surprised.
It's just a funny thing to think that they explain that they went, and they're just talking so casually with this Captain Christopher character. Yeah, we went to this planet run by women, which at that time, for me, I'm just like, that doesn't seem like a weird concept. But then I have to remember when this episode came out, right? Like, that would have been
even
strange.
Questioning that there are women in the military. Like, he's questioning why there are women on board the Enterprise.
Yeah, that seems to be more interesting to him than being beamed onto a fucking
in
UFO.
The fucking future. Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, shocking that females can do things,
Right.
So that was kind of a funny beat, and it kind of hits, and then it's like one of those jokes that goes on a little bit too long, and then it eventually becomes funny. Because at first I thought, ooh, that feels icky, and then I realized, oh, they've been trolled and they're realizing it, and it's sort of an annoying thing that there's this female voice, and that got me. I really did enjoy that.
I enjoy it. I have this vision in my head of TOS being a bit stuffy sometimes and very serious. So when I see these humor moments, I'm like, this would like work today in some ways. Like, maybe not Spock being like, and of course it's a woman. Like, Spock comes off as the most sexist in all of this because he's like shocked and irritated that the computer is a female. But the fact that it continues to go on and call him dear, and its feelings get hurt when he's like, I recommend that it gets completely like upgraded or like thrown away. Okay.
Yeah, it kind of has this sentient sort of vibe to it.
Yeah.
Like, where it knows it's being sassy, and it's a fun way for a female character to be introduced into this series that's not necessarily like Lieutenant Uhura. Is that what she's a lieutenant?
Yeah. She is, yeah.
So for her, that character who has no speaking lines at all, pretty much.
No.
She's on the bridge, so that's a good thing. That we have a woman of color on the bridge. We are winning at something. But then, like, there's this new character, and it's just the computer voice, but it's like a sassy one. That's really fun. I really enjoyed that.
Well, it would have been fun if they'd carried on with it, but never again be seen. Nope.
Oh, that's sad.
This and the Time Warp, never seen again. Well, obviously in a movie, but never in the actual series.
And rightfully so. You really do write yourself into a pickle when you introduce time travel, as we have said.
Absolutely. I do want to address one thing that I've been noodling in my brain. It was going to be a sin, but I think it's deliberate. And Kirk, when he's giving information to Captain Christopher, which he absolutely shouldn't be, he says that they're from the United Earth Space Probe Agency. And to what you said earlier, I wondered if it was just the rulebook hadn't been written yet, and maybe that was like a subsection of Starfleet. But I think he literally is making it up on the spot. It's just not delivered as tongue-in-cheek as I would imagine. Like, I would imagine more of a wink to the camera if he was like making it up, or like tell Spock, I just made up the Space Probe Agency, run with it.
Yeah.
But for a second there, I thought, oh, is that what Starfleet was originally called? That's shit. No wonder they abandoned that. It sounds horrible.
What other things did we really enjoy? Let me look back at my notes here. Uniform. Let's talk about uniform, and let's talk about how we're making food. So
yes.
What happened? Because he had something in his hand and then he put it into a slot and then the food came.
So I haven't done a deep dive into this. My headcanon has always been that they have a selection of food to choose from, and then the cards have different categories on them. But the problem is he put the card in and then didn't do anything else. So is that one card chicken soup? And it's very lucky that he only had 5 cards and one of them happened to be chicken soup. I think there's something more involved to it than that, though. I think it doesn't have the selection of the replicators, but it has more than
interesting
a usual cafeteria.
But so he had to have had chicken soup in his hand, and it just so happened that the guy asked for chicken soup? Or is it they say, what do you want to eat? He presses a recorder and the guy says chicken soup, and then it does it.
I think it's got to be listening, because as we see it on the screen, because I was really paying attention to this, the guy said, like, what do you want to eat? And he says, yeah, I would love some chicken soup. The guy looks down, the transporter chief, picks the card, puts it in, soup happens. Like, there is no extra button being pushed here. So the computer must have heard that. He selects, oh, I'm going to go with appetizers or soups, and I'll put that in. And then it heard that he wanted chicken soup.
That's what I thought. I thought the computer maybe overheard it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the idea of the moment is to shock this guy with how we can instantly prepare food, but they didn't really put all of the steps in that I would expect.
And is this the first time we've seen food in the transporter room?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
are they in every room? I mean, people get hungry.
Nope. I mean, no? I see them in quarters and in the mess hall. I haven't ever seen them in the bloody transporter room. Why would they be in the transporter room? I mean, it makes sense because it uses a similar technology like the replicators, I would think.
I don't know.
I just don't know why. There are 3 slots. There are 3 food portals in there. How hungry are you getting?
I mean,
how many people are in that room?
Transporting takes a long time.
Very interesting.
Also,
they clearly didn't want to leave the transporter room.
Let's talk about clothes now. That transporter robe is legit.
Oh, it's gorgeous, isn't it?
It's like a fuchsia, kind of like robe.
Yeah.
When I first saw the guy, I didn't realize where we were on the ship, and I thought he was like stumbling in after waking up, and this was just his waking up gear.
Well, it was purely a budget thing. Like, they couldn't afford to make uniforms for everybody, so a lot of the engineers do just literally wear bathrobes that are coloured. Like, that was a purely budget thing.
So why not give the Earth guy robes?
Yeah, why give him a uniform? Great point. Yeah.
I kind of liked it. I liked seeing
He's a
him.
captain.
I thought it looked kind of cool.
Although they don't give him the captain rank. They give him, I think it's a lieutenant rank on his, like, on the gold bands on his sleeve. He doesn't have the same as Spock or Kirk, but he does have 1 band. So it's interesting that they disrespect him by not letting him be a pretend captain.
I mean, the whole thing with him is strange. Yeah. You know, he's been kidnapped. He has been held prisoner. He's been told his life is useless. His
so
wife
brutal.
And his children don't matter.
Spock's just like, you were of no consequence to the history of time. You could disappear today. No one will notice.
Like, that is such a good insult to just have in the back of your mind if you get into an argument with someone.
Yeah, I looked into the future. You mean nothing.
Yeah. I looked into
this
the
conversation.
future.
Yeah. Your impact on me is your greatest impact.
And then he has to make himself relevant again by saying, I have information you need, and so I have to go with you, which Spock accounts for and then, you know, tricks him and knocks him out. But he nearly got away.
Yep.
I kind of enjoyed that part. But
yeah,
I just wondered why he was in a Starfleet uniform. He would have run out of there in what people would probably presume were pajamas.
Yeah, just give him anything. I think they just really liked the idea of old Earth person being in uniform for some reason. But it's a really jarring choice. It's really, really strange that they did that. Like, they wouldn't do that in TNG. Like, they're very protective about the uniform. They don't like Q wearing it.
Right.
They don't just hand that out. They wouldn't even let Wesley wear a proper uniform until he's commissioned.
Another thing I thought was going to happen in this episode that didn't is I thought that they were going to continue to accidentally beam people on board.
Oh, it's hilarious, isn't it?
I did like the comedy beats, and I did really enjoy that accident. Although I don't understand how it works because I thought beaming can kind of lock on differently. But again, I'm coming in on TNG, and I'm coming in after all these conversations with you about how this technology works, and who knows how it worked in the beginning. But like, okay, you're beaming up the wrong person. Here he is. How funny would it have been if that kept happening? And now they have this really big problem on their hands.
It would have been amazing because they would have to like keep going back in time to different points, and that could have been like the direction that they had to take this. Like they have like a little production line of people like, okay, and now you beam, and now you beam, and now you beam, because they just keep fucking up. And the lesson is, don't try and do anything with time travel. Just stop it. Blow up the ship immediately.
Yeah.
Well, I love going back to the transporter room. Like when you said the transporter chief, I thought you meant the room. And this might be my favorite transporter room. I love it so much. I love the pad. I love the things that poke out of the ceilings. I love the effect. It's amazing.
You love how they had to kind of scoot the guy back on his little platform.
Yes. That would have bugged me so much because in TNG, sometimes they get the spacings wrong. And I'm like, you're going to lose an arm. And I want to know how dangerous it is for him to like not be completely on that pad. Yeah, it's so fun. Any chance to see transporter beaming is so good. Well, before we get into some sins, give us some pips, Ambassador.
Okay, so I'm gonna give this one some pretty interesting pips. Let me think about this. I like that we got to continue to see the world of Star Trek. I got to see the engine room, which I really wanted to pause on that moment, but we can't because we're like doing a live show immediately. But there was a fence almost in there. Yes. It was very industrial looking, and I kind of wanted to go back in there and see more about what the engine room looked like because it's such a prime space on TNG.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's such a stark comparison between TNG and TOS because you've basically seen all of the engine room that we get to see. Like to the left, there's a walkway that they kind of climb a ladder to get up to, and there's like another console on the wall that's kind of behind the camera. There are some more consoles, but it's very, very bare. And behind that fencing grate is the warp core. Like the warp core was treated like this nuclear submarine thing that you don't want to get to, as we fucking should. And it's like protected and it's put out of the way. Whereas we're used to like seeing this iconic symbol of warp drive, like the warp core in TNG, Voyager. It's this central focal point that we get to look at. In TOS, it's just this big fucking unit that's behind a fence.
Yeah. And I like to see how those sets are. I mean, the TOS sets are interesting also in that we're on episode, and I don't know what order they would have been like filmed in, but it's been long enough that some shenanigans have happened in this room because even in the bridge, there are these squares like up around the top part of the bridge that are very clearly made of paper.
Just paper.
Just gray paper.
And they're like crumpled. They've got like a wave in them.
Yeah. And so what's on their screen is a printout of what it would be. And I just have such mad respect for what it takes to do something like this because like you look at Strange New Worlds and their sets are phenomenal. The first one that pops into my mind is those episodes where you have Spock and I think Uhura going into that cave with all the lights and just these
with the musical comet.
Incredible things we can imagine now. We can use CGI to bring it to life, and you've got these like computer geniuses that are painting these amazing things for us. But there's something about like craft paper stuck to a wall that it's got a special place in my heart.
I have 2 monitors in this room, not including my phone, which is a tiny monitor. They could not afford on one of the most premier TV shows that is out there. They couldn't afford to have that many monitors in the room. You got to do it with paper. Like that planet that's on that sensor, same planet every episode. They are obsessed with having that planet on that screen. And the fanciest thing you get is that like kind of at Spock's station, the wavy like infrared radar, like spectral thing that's going. That blew the budget out the wall. And it's amazing like what I kind of... I wish it was acceptable to go back to that a little bit. There's a movie I watched recently, Expendables 4, And I shit you not, they CGI'd houses. They're in a street. And either the lighting is terrible or it's literally CG. You've got Stallone and Statham standing in front of just a suburban neighborhood, and the houses are CG. And I'm like, are we at a point now where it is literally easier to CG everything and cheaper than to film on location, physical, real things? And you lose some of it. You lose some texture. You lose some kind of just in there-ness of it all.
There is something about being in a universe, and I'm getting to my pips, but like it stands out to me because it's the way that this is being acted that brings it to life. And I'm amazed that even though I'm watching something that has paper crumpled cardboard stuff on a wall, I am in it and I believe it's happening because everyone is so committed. And there's this joy that's happening on the set in unique ways where they're really thinking about what it would be like to be these people. For example, when Sulu and Kirk beam down and they're just walking around,
the wonder.
They're so happy to be in this hallway touching like a wall that has announcements on it and things like that.
Physical paper.
Yeah, it makes it hard for me to sit in a way because I'm having so much fun watching them that I'm forgetting to ask questions like, why didn't you just try to wear a different piece of clothing? Things like that. But it's just a real special thing. There's something special going on with TOS. I can see why people went and picketed to make sure that it came back.
I love that you can see that, especially with like modern day eyes. There's like for all of Shatner's foibles, there is almost like a humbleness to everyone being on like this show and being on this set, and you can kind of in every episode feel how special everyone feels to be on a spaceship as their fucking job.
It's fun.
And like Leonard Nimoy sucks me in every time. Like Spock is so consistent. He's so reliable to act the way he is, and he has to act like an alien. Like it's so clever. It's so
another
well done.
thing that I consider in this moment when Bones is like, shouldn't you be thinking about something? And he's like, I am.
Oh, it's so good.
And there's just this power in how it's written. There's a power in how it's performed, and we got to see the dynamics.
Is different to yours.
We got to see the dynamics of the team. We got to see some shenanigans. We got to see them wrestle with like moral decisions in a way. We got to see some really fun exterior shots of the ship in space.
Yes.
Like that whole bar, like going around the sun with the sun spike coming out. That must have looked amazing when it was on TV.
Well, it would have looked amazing in the 90s when they remastered it. That's not the original footage.
It is so fun to watch, and how they're clinging to their space. Again, it makes me forget, like, okay, so if this is how much damage it's causing them, and this is like pulling them around, why didn't they tell all the other people that they needed to batten down the hatches because there's someone on the shitter right now that is covered in feces, right? Like, we got to think about the people who are pooping.
However, this will be a sin removal. It's so dumb, but they're leaning in the right direction. Which is really fun. As they slingshot around the sun, they're leaning the way that G-force is, however that works when you're slingshotting around the sun. They're leaning in the correct direction, which is just, I always give like a little tip of the hat to getting that right.
I think ultimately I give this one 3.5 maybe pips because I think I had a good time watching it. I don't think I'm going to land on the end of a time travel episode going, yeah, that makes sense. But
cause and effect. We already did.
We should have never started with that one. That should have
been
the end.
And actually, it doesn't make sense. They should not be able to communicate information between loops. Sorry.
No, maybe. No, you're right. You're right. Well, no, because there was that interference conversation. There was like an echo thing happening.
The Decian field. Yeah. Okay. The chronometer shouldn't have changed. This shit, in the sins, because I've got things about this ship's chronometer as well. Fucking don't mention chronometers. They shouldn't work in time travel.
I can't really go up higher. I think the reason I'm giving it a 3 is because it's doing something really unique. It's bringing somebody aboard, and they didn't do a thing where that person was like, wow, this is so cool. He's like, how do I leave this ship?
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna give it a 3. It might slip down to a 2.5 because I checked the clock a couple times. I did feel the pacing on it.
Checked the chronometer and it was going backwards.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like this is a pacing that makes sense for when it was released. I feel like our pacing is so different now. We fill every second with something. And 15 seconds is long enough for us to be entertained. So it's something that like I kind of on TOS adjust it a little bit. There's a chronometer adjustment. A decion.
Yeah. Your chronoton flux is adjusted by 0.03.
Yeah, I flux my chronotons.
I mean, I love that. He says, "Thank you for giving me a glimpse into the future, Captain." And he says, "You're welcome." And then doesn't say, "You won't remember any of it. You're about to die."
That is what happens, right? Like they die.
They literally die. They absolutely die.
We watched people die.
Yeah, 100%. They
Happily.
got beamed. They were just vaporized. I don't know why they bothered beaming anybody. Just kill them. Like, because their bodies are still there. The Enterprise just disappears. It makes no... I've never thought about it before, but it makes no sense. You do not need to beam them. You're just making it... You just put them in a, like, disposal chute.
Yeah, they could have just beamed them to space and it would have been fine.
Comfortably forgot about them. Just beam them to the Klingon ship. It's 3 pips from me. Mainly, I can't help but laugh at the I enjoy the fighting. I enjoy the humor. I enjoy the security guard that's frozen in place. I enjoy the Spock banter. But time travel episodes really get elevated when the time travel makes even 1% sense. And this is so nonsensical that it is super distracting. But I do have a good time with it.
They just flung themselves into the future.
They literally, we're just going to go around the sun and he's going to compute that in his head because that's how it happened. Makes me wonder why they ever need a ship's computer if they have Spock. Anyway, now that we've done that, let's do some sins. Battle stations, everyone, red alert.
Warning, warp core collapse in 10 seconds.
This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brains, remind ourselves that no TV show is without sin, even our beloved Star Trek. To be fair, I think red alert has been up the entire time. The crux of the sins we kind of did in the main body of the show, but any silly, nitpicky sins, you've got, Ambassador.
I don't know how to not sin that their belts are being held on by Velcro.
Wait, what's wrong with that?
I just feel like in the future there's something better than Velcro.
Don't improve on perfection. Velcro was given to us by the Vulcans, Danae, and I'm not kidding. That is canon.
Wait, you're fucking with me.
That's canon.
No, you're fucking with me. I don't believe you. Until the chat confirms, I don't believe anything
confirm
that you
it. I don't want to say any more because it is obviously a time travel episode as well. But I mean, man, it was
Velcro is a nightmare. Velcro, it gets hair in it. It gets all kinds of stuff. Velcro cannot be the choice for belt in the future. The chat is just telling me that you're telling the truth. And I know that they would like come at you if you were bullshitting me.
For sure. They don't let me bullshit you too much.
Oh, it says Ina's right for once. God, why are we Velcroing? Although it does make a really funny sound as he's taking off the belt.
I think it was because the Vulcans were like, this is going to piss people off. Let's give it to the humans. We don't use this shit anymore. Let's give it to the humans.
Like, we're being trolled by the future Vulcans because, 100%. Like, no, let's give the humans something that we think is ridiculous, and they don't even know
They're going to think this is useful, but it's going to put them back 300 years.
Oh, my God. As soon as he ripped off his belt and I heard the crunching of Velcro, I was like, no, please.
Please, in the 2260s, let us have moved beyond Velcro.
I know that magnets fuck things up, too, but just something more interesting than Velcro.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I have long hair. Anything, it gets stuck in everything, and then you just have to pick out
It's amazing. It's brilliant. My one is this fucking chronometer that's in Kirk's chair. Spock is like, if you check the chronometer, that's going to start going backwards. The only way I can rationalize that in my head, and this isn't what the show pitches it as at all, is that this is a specially calibrated chronometer just to track this time warp. Because if that's the ship's chronometer that's going backwards, it means every fucking thing on the ship is going backwards, including the Enterprise, including the people, including the engines, which means they're not going towards the sun anymore, which means as soon as they start going towards the sun, they start going backwards, and that prevents them from going towards the sun. Like, I can kind of buy it, other than the chronometer, because if Kirk, Spock, everybody is isolated from the effects of going back in time until they're actually going back in time, why is the chronometer going backwards? Why isn't the ship going backwards? It's so confusing to me. I don't understand how that chronometer... Everything should be going backwards, in summary, including the plot.
Time How does it work?
You will never know, audience. You'll never know.
I like the idea where they're like, let's turn off the tractor beam and then not really worry about whatever happens to the falling space debris. Like, they are super okay with just killing a whole bunch of people.
They really should take the debris on board as well.
Take it into space.
Yeah.
Just keep it on and keep going.
Let it be a mystery for TNG. I was like, how is this fighter jet from the 60s orbiting the moon? Like, how did that happen?
It doesn't even pay off. When they started talking about the debris, and I thought about them returning Captain Christopher and maybe beaming him down underneath some debris, so it looks like they just missed him on the first pass or something clever. Yeah, something like that. But no, they're just totally fine with just dumping a massive ship from orbit.
They overcomplicate this
atmosphere
far too much. They really do. My next one was, and you might have an explanation for this, Danae, but Christopher gives them a map of the base, roughly.
Yes, he uses an Etch-a-Sketch to do so.
Literally uses the smallest Etch-a-Sketch I've ever seen. Like, he's going to need 14 of those to actually map out this compound. But why do they beam into a hallway then? Like, Kirk and Sulu beam into a hallway and then eventually find the records room. I don't know what's stopping them from beaming into the records room straight away.
The whole entire scene is just silliness.
Yeah.
Everything is just silliness. Why not beam down, beam into a room, beam into another room?
Yeah.
You know, we
Blow
have
up the base.
We have a lot of weird things going on when they like go around, but obviously they want to have like a sneaky Kirk is being sneaky moment.
Yeah. They want to have everyone touching the walls and stuff. It's just transporters just not being specific enough until you really want them to be super specific.
It is interesting to see, again, these shows sort of capture in time for us certain things that I don't think about. It is interesting to see how the records room is like film reel and how much storage space there must be for all of this stuff to exist, because they have massive, cassette tapes, essentially.
You're talking about kilobytes of data. Not even megabytes yet.
I was looking up some statistics. I was working on a script recently, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. The movie had a milkman, and so I thought, okay, well, milkmen they stopped delivering milk at a certain point in time. So where are we in the history of the United States? And then all of a sudden, they're showing an Apple computer, and so I was trying to like figure out if I could pinpoint and sin the coexistence of a milkman and this Apple computer. And so I took a picture of the computer, and then I did a reverse image search to find which computer it was.
Nice.
Because it was a very unique one, so it had some features that were pretty obvious. And then I was reading the specs on the computer and just like, holy shit, the things that used to just work for us. And
different. Everything was
different times. Different
expectations.
Massive thing. Like when we first visited, when I was in school, the NASA, and saw the room that contained the computer that launched us into space.
And the book of code that's like 12 foot tall.
And it filled an entire room. And they said, now what you have, like the computers that you have at home are more powerful than this computer. And now they say the phone in your pocket is more powerful than the, and it's just...
Than the Apollo computer,
so
for sure.
mind-boggling.
Yeah, absolutely mind-boggling. I don't understand
I kind of liked going through that space, but it was so stupid.
It's so dumb. It's like, I've seen this in a museum. I understand how this works. Wow, how did that work out? Like, there's no way in the 2200s they're doing like... Well, they might be, but like cassettes, like an actual working example of a cassette thing would be just wild that they'd seen it. But yeah, it's amazing. Anything else? That's absolutely everything. It was mainly like Spock is dumb until he needs to be smart. Spock ruins this guy by saying he has no contribution to history.
Absolutely ruined him. I wrote, "Oh shit, Spock! That was
why did this guy hurt you?"
That was intense.
It's almost like in the records he found a feud between his family and the Christopher family, and it's like, this is my time. This is how I end his line.
Contribution by John Christopher. Like, wow.
But I guess he's a Vulcan. He doesn't really care about that stuff, but it's wild. I think that's everything that I've got, Ambassador, unless you have any more.
I really enjoyed the part where Kirk was answering their questions genuinely when he was being, interrogated, and they're like, "Who are you?" And that was the sin that I was trying to do in my head earlier that kind of undoes itself, is he's honest about all of that. But then if the future or the past, whatever is erased, then it doesn't really matter. But I did like that. So maybe it would be a bit of like a sin and then a sin removal sort of situation.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Oh, I would sin that this episode is not called Prisoner in Time.
Oh, nice.
Because Christopher says, "You're as much a prisoner in time as I am." And I thought that was really profound.
Yeah, they're all prisoners. Yeah, love that.
That's what I would sin. Well, that's
Tomorrow
the better
is
episode
yesterday.
title. Tomorrow is yesterday is so fucking stupid. Sorry.
Biggest sin of the episode, the title.
Okay, here's my biggest sin of the episode, and then I'm done.
Okay.
It's time to send Christopher to his death. I mean, back in time. I mean, wherever.
Yep.
Beam him back. And so Kirk calls him to say, "Peace out."
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
Walks over.
Yeah.
And touches the console as if he knows what any of the buttons do.
When did he get a crash course in how the communication station works?
Where is Robe Man?
Yeah.
Can Robe Man not he's kind of like, "Thanks, Kirk." Like,
yeah, right.
Get your hands
I've been
off
here
the buttons.
An hour.
I don't know. How does he do that?
Please stop touching the thing that can dematerialize everybody. I
realize that they showed you far too much of this ship.
Yeah.
And that you shouldn't know the things you know, and you shouldn't have seen the things. But how is anybody that's working on the ship not going, no? Like,
don't.
He's reaching over so many important things.
So
it would be like releasing my daughter into a room and then just not stopping her when she touches something.
Yeah,
like
touch all the things. I don't know what situation comes about where it's a priority for him to be told how to use that.
I once went to a decommissioned naval ship and they had it in the harbor, and you could
Was it
go
decommissioned before or after you went on board? Did they decommission it because of you?
When we walked through the control room, I pushed every red button I could get my hands on, and I was with someone who worked for the Navy, who was in the Navy, and he was shitting bricks.
Why? I hope none of that works.
This is what I said. I'm just like ping, 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 because of course they're not going to have anything plugged in because this is a decommissioned warship, and they know that children are going to walk through here and push every button. I am a child. Ping, 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 ping. I'm just literally like, there's knobs, there's stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, hell yeah, this is the only time. And I'm just that. If he was shitting bricks on a decommissioned warship, there's no way that this man wasn't immediately tackled to the ground, is what I'm saying. That's my point.
For sure. Absolutely. He should have been beamed into space immediately. Don't reach for that button. That's amazing.
That'd be a hilarious end to his story.
Accidentally beams himself into space. Yeah. I just wanted to reply to the email. The ending really is, I guess we won't be needing this anymore for all of those characters.
Oh, that's the perfect ending.
So great. Guess we won't be needing these people anymore. I just want to sin it so bad.
If we were to replay that scene, but with the beaming sound overlaid with flesh squish.
Well, like in the motion picture. Yeah, there's two people that die via transporter beam. So I would just cut to the audio of that. It's like, this is what actually happens.
And muffled screams.
Oh, transporter chief, did you get them? Whatever came back didn't last long, I think is the line. Well, Ambassador, that for now is the end of our series on time travel episodes. Super quick, what's been your standout one? What's your favorite? Knee-jerk reaction?
Oh, cause and effect, easy.
Hell yeah! Woo!
But I feel like we only... if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh my god, there's so many more to consider. Yep, there are. We should definitely revisit this time travel theme
without
again.
question. Even if you hated this, I would be coming back to time travel because it's my favorite theme in Star Trek. And it's kind of cool that we did one from TNG, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, the original series. We will definitely be coming back to this topic.
Are there any that go into the future?
Yes, which leads us quite nicely into the next season of Captain's Pod. We're going to be doing Discovery, which, yes, actually does go into its own future. So we're going to be diving into season 5 of Discovery, which is going to be absolute chaos because, Ambassador...
No lube.
How many episodes of Discovery have you watched?
Zero. I have no idea what it is. But this is what happened when we started to do Lower Decks. This is what happened when we started to do everything we've done. It's like, do you have any experience with this?
Yep.
Nope.
Discovery is the next live show that's going to be releasing week to week. So we will be covering each episode of Discovery as it lands.
So one of the reasons I like doing this is because it gives me a chance to be that unique viewer that is catching something on TV and wondering what's going on. And then I get to ask a lot of questions. So be prepared.
Yes. So we will have a bumper episode next week of Captain's Pod where we do 2 episodes in one. And then we'll be staying in lockstep with season 5, the final season of Discovery, as it airs each week.
Now, for those of you who are deciding to join the live show, I feel like we're going to have 4 hours of going live because you're going to have to explain some stuff. We're going to talk about episode 1. We're going to talk about episode 2. We're going to spend the whole day together.
It's going to be a long one.
Let's camp out.
Let's do it. But until then, you can send us some emails and stuff to captainspod@cinemasins.com. Reach out to us on Twitter or X @captainspodcs. Or you can, join the Discord at discord.gg/cinemasins, where we have a bubbling Star Trek conversation and episode recommendation threads and just a beautiful community of people. You guys are amazing as always. And until next week, I'm Captain Ian, and I've never believed in little green men.
Computed and recorded, dear.
Live long and prosper.
Thanks for listening. Want to connect with the show? Our hailing frequencies are always open through captainspod@cinemasins.com. Like, comment, and subscribe on your podcast player of choice, and be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
Test! Test! Yeah, that works.
Oh no. I turned my computer off and everything is starting up now. This is chaotic. And it sounds like I have a motorboat in my fucking office because apparently the fan isn't very happy. Do you think I'm going to die from eating cold chicken?
No, you'll die from eating room temperature chicken or like just above room temperature chicken. Cold chicken's great.
For some reason, I thought you told me that unless chicken's like blazing hot, it will kill me. And so since you visited last, I have been overcooking every single piece of chicken. And today I didn't have time. And so I went to the refrigerator and I took out a piece of chicken. And I'm like, I guess I'm going to die.
You missed out a crucial bit of information that I remember saying.
Yeah, okay.
Which was if you heat up chicken, like if you reheat chicken or heat up chicken, it has to be blazing hot. I think it's like 75 degrees or something like that. It's got to. I've
been putting little pieces of chicken in the microwave for 2 minutes.
That's fine. Like that
seems like a long time to me.
It won't taste great, but it won't do you any harm.
There's no nutritional value left in it at all.
Yeah, it's just a desiccated husk.
How do you feel about like old drinks that have?
Is there milk in it?
No.
Then you're fine. Is there beef in it?
When you mentioned, I'm like currently taking a giant swig of this strawberry banana 6 juice blend smoothie drink, and you say, "Is there beef in it?" All of a sudden, it starts to change in my mouth. Like,
yeah, you're like, oh, I taste beef.
Oh, I think I do taste beef. Weird. Why are you the expert on food stuff now for me?
Because I used to do it as a job. I have a food hygiene safety certificate today. Don't laugh, I do.
Where is it? Go get it. I want to see it.
We do not have time for me to go and dig out my 7-year. How old is it? 8-year-old food hygiene certificate from Mitchell and Butler.
Where is it located?
It'll be in a red box where I keep all of my important paperwork under the bed. It's not under the bed. It's in a safe. It's in a security deposit box in Fort Knox. It's not just under... Shit! Fair. They bought it, but they're now making it. Like, the stuff. Fucking hell.
Did you just break?
No. You have a lid on this water bottle for a reason, Ian, and you've left it open, and now you've just spilt it on a fucking dragon.
Well, now it's a water dragon.
It wasn't enough water to go anywhere. I'm like, can I be bothered to clean it up?
Use your shirt.
No! I love this cardigan.
It's just water.
You're just what?
It's not like I'm asking you to use your shirt to clean up a child's snotty face. Go on.
It's not much water.
Just use your...
I'm not using my cardigan. It'll have a damp sleeve.
Did you just take your mug and put it over the water stain? Water?
No, no, it's bigger than that.
Okay.
It's quite a...
You literally said, it's not that big, and then you took up your cup, you looked at it, and then you strategically placed it off camera, and
Never
I'm like,
move that cup.
God.
Never move the cup.
We never know what's under there.
Probably just lick it up. No, I don't want to lick this table.
What? You would rather lick it over using a cardigan to soak up the water?
In order, yes, I would.
Oh my God, that is so weird.
Do you like damp sleeves?
They eventually are not.
But not for a while, then I have to experience them.
You know what? We're all different people. I'm used to having a child that uses my body and my clothing to clean herself all the fucking time.
That's fucking gross. Should we do a show? Do you want to do a show? Should we do a show?
Yeah, but the whole time I'm going to be thinking about that water just slowly evaporating off camera.
Just put the camera down. Can you see it?
The only one I can see is like oh, okay. That is now going underneath your stand.
Yeah, if I wait long enough, it might all go under there.
You probably want to go get something to stop that up, because whatever's underneath there is going to sit and maybe ruin the top of your desk.
Ruin the top of your desk.
What the fuck does that mean?
Don't know. I'll be right back.
Stop giving me good advice, Danae. Season 1, episode 19. Oh, that's Arena, sir. I think, but here it is. Tomorrow is yesterday. A time accident leaves the Enterprise, a UFO, over 20th century Earth. Oh no. I have to watch 20th century Earth. Boring. A time accident leaves the Enterprise, a UFO. Leaves the Enterprise a UFO. Does it mean like it makes the Enterprise like a UFO over the 20th century? Oh, it's probably gonna be like, oh, they're the UFO people. Oh, hello. I was just reading about the description of this video.
Don't read the description. Spoilers.
I'm about to be spoiled all over the place.
Well, yeah, but deliberately.
I read one line.
What did you read?
A time accident leaves the Enterprise a UFO over 20th century Earth.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good synopsis.
Are you still angry with me for reading that sentence?
Yes.
Fuck.
Right, my this is amazing. My headset's about to run out. Do the Discord update and I'll change my battery.
I did post a picture, Slab, you saw it, of a puppy that I was considering rescuing, and there was some questions about an update on that. And so, yes, I really was considering rescuing this dog. And no, it's not a possibility because its owners found it again. Yay!
Good news for everyone involved, especially Danae, who does not need another dog.
It was so cute.
Basically, I will not let Danae have a dog, even if she wants to. No.
I think not. You went into the Discord and you were like, Stop
it immediately. Because you were like, Ian, did you see what I posted in the Discord? I was like, what? What have you done?
Yeah.
No more puppies for you.
I didn't even put it in the pet Discord channel because the Captain's Pod people really know the fullness of the story. And one of my favorite parts about the Discord chat at that time was we were, I think, like talking about the different animals that I have, the animal count, and somebody said that that the goldfish just basically had a cameo. That just really cracked me up.
Doesn't get like special guest star featured for one episode.
What's the most sinful dog breed?
Labradors or golden retrievers.
Why?
Because they're basically kids. Labradors are just a mess. Ian, your cardigan is so nice, I want it. Well, you can't have it, but yes, it is. I love it. It's so comfy. And it's got like this nice little interior as well. It's really soft.
Are you going to make one of those like link trees where you have your Amazon shopping and people like they can buy that cardigan?
Wait, is that a thing?
Yeah, because
so they can buy the same clothes that I wear?
and then you get paid for it too as like a affiliate
Get
link.
the heck out. Really? That's a thing?
Yes, I am absolutely inundated with these kinds of ads. When I
Wait.
open up Instagram,
Wait.
it's crazy. There's an entire account, and it's this woman. Now, the account is like, do you want to know how to dress well in your 60s? Because I like to fuck up my algorithm by like watching stuff that's really not anything,
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
just to see what happens.
Yeah.
And so I got into like the skincare thing for a while, and it was how to reduce wrinkles using castor oil and tape. And then it like went into this whole thing where it showed like the people that are in their 60s that are like super high fashion. So I started watching them. Anyway, it's trickled down, and now I have them all the time. And it's an entire account of a woman saying, shop my Amazon account. And they'll stand in front of you, and they do this like little thing where they like wiggle back and forth, and they like move their little feet. They're like ta 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 ta, and then they snap their fingers, and then their outfit changes ta 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 ta, pop, and they're just like all this cuteness is going on, and then it's like comment me and then you comment me, and because you're following it, it automatically sends you a link to those information. And if you go buy it, then they get to make some money off of what you bought on Amazon.
Gee, I need to do this. I could make a killing on old man cardigans. I have so many.
Read us the Federation Charter to test.
Oh, done.
What does that mean? What have you asked him to do?
I don't think I think the first time the charter was actually on screen was in Strange New Worlds, or was it Picard? Oh wait, no, Janeway's got some of it. Oh, it's actually on. It's on Voyager. I can't read that. Charter of the United Federation of Planets.
What have you done, Slab?
I would love to read that. Have we got it? Oh, here we go. We, the life forms of the United Federation of Planets, determined to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war and to reaffirm faith in the fundamental rights of sentient beings, in the dignity and worth. There are so many commas in this first sentence. Of all life forms, in the equal rights of members of planetary systems, large and small, and to establish conditions under which justice and respect for the obligations arising from treaties and other sources of interstellar law can be maintained, and to promote social progress and better standards of living on all worlds, and for these ends to practice toleration and live together in peace with one another, and to unite our strength to maintain interstellar peace, security, and to ensure by the acceptance of principles and the institutions of methods that weapons of destruction shall not be used, save in the common interest, and to employ interstellar resources for the promotion. That's one long sentence. And it keeps going. There's an ellipses, there's a ... It just keeps going.
Did you see that Slab made that up and didn't know it was a real thing?
Oh, you're kidding. For real?
For real.
Yeah, no, it literally says Charter of the United Federation of Planets.
He literally just said something to be silly and then was completely shocked that it was real.
Oh, no, it's real. Yeah, at least the first paragraph, which is 100 words.
Okay, now read it in Klingon.
I actually just said beam me up.
But with a British accent, which is great.
Was it? Well, no way. I guess it was by default. Yeah. I wasn't trying to do a different accent.
Like
Cho-i-chu.
It's like water.
Water. I'll have what they're having.
Oh, no.
Water. Can I get a water? But I'd like it to be wetter.
That you're getting better at doing that. I remember when you first started trying to like practice saying water, and you would really overemphasize. You'd be like, water.
Water.
Make it as long as possible. And then
can I get a water?
You actually did it at a restaurant and it worked perfectly. And we're like, oh my God. Oh my God.
I didn't say any other words. I was like, water.
But you have to like unhinge your jaw when you do it every time. Do you know that you do that?
Oh yeah, no, this is
like,
a genuine thing.
It hurts you.
American accents are all in the mouth region. Water.
Can you help me understand how an accent wouldn't be in the mouth region for any other?
So, Millie Bobby Brown, who's really, really good at accents, says that when she's doing like really posh English, it's in the bottom of her throat. When she's doing Australian, it's in the top of her neck. And then when she's doing American and asking for a water, it's all in the front of the mouth.
Yeah, I don't think either of us can do Irish or Scottish accents.
Right now, it'd be quite tricky.
What was that?
It's my Northern Irish.
That sounded like
really thick.
That sounded like one of the Beatles.
No, that's Ringo. As if Ringo Starr was going to ask for a glass of water at a restaurant. The problem is none of my friends will pay for me.
Wow.
I've been stealing a living from them for far too long.
What is Babs' accent from? Chaos.
Isn't she from Boston?
Originally, I wanted it to sound like a Boston accent, something that was like very Boston-y. But So I watched some videos and I tried to pick up on some of like the nuances of picking up a different accent. But I also, my intention was that she's been smoking since she was 8 years old. So I wanted to give her a raspy voice, like, something like that. But that was really hard to continue to do.
Yeah, I bet.
And keep up with. So I was talking like this, get out of here. And then it was too old. It sounded too old. But then, of course, if she's been smoking, it made sense in my brain. And I also just couldn't have as much fun. So I started to move her up a little bit until all of a sudden she was in the highest part of the back of my throat. And then she came up here. And that's how she...
That's where she lives?
That's where she lives. Now she went from down here.
It's amazing.
Babs's OG accent reminds me of Tallulah from Daleks in Manhattan, Evolution of the Daleks.
Daleks in Manhattan.
I don't know what that reference is.
It's a long time since I've seen that. It's a Doctor Who reference. A long, long time since I've seen that. Daleks in Manhattan.
Pack the car and have it, yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I know. That's the one with Scavros. Not Scavros. What's his name? He's an evil guy and he has tentacles under his thing.
Oh, yeah. That's from Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, that's Davy Jones. Davy Jones. No, not Davros. Davros is the head of the Daleks.
Everyone is saying Davros.
This is a human Dalek hybrid. Wasn't Davros? He had another name.
I can't wait for it to actually be Davros and you to be
it's
wrong.
It's not Davros because Davros
I'm so excited for it.
Davros is actually a Khaled. He created the Daleks. Dalek-sec! That's his name. Sorry.
Phil wins.
Thank you, Phil.
Nice.
Dalek-sec! I didn't charge my other battery.
Are you already
this one's
losing
dead.
the battery on that one?
Might have charged enough. Okay, I'll be right back.
You just changed it. He just changed it. Didn't he just change it? All right. Here's my notes. Sulu, whack. Spock, touch. Kirk, punch.
Full
Sun,
body punch.
Sun, slingshot.
Yes.
Just like these two. I just got this series.
That's how it was pitched to Gene Roddenberry. Yeah. Da 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 da.